With us. Well, hello. Here I am in Swindon, and I'm interviewing the lads. I'd like to thank them for inviting me down. And I think the best thing to do, I'm new to this sort of thing, so bear with me please, is introduce the lads to you on this very special day. Over to you. Welcome.
Well done, hello, very well.
Oh, it's really good, yes.
Yes, very feel good. Yeah.
So I hope you'll both be very happy. And over next to you, man and cheese.
Well, thanks for taking time out. I'm sure you're busy, as always. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I can fire away. Please bear with me.
Just fire away.
Just fire away.
Over here.
Okay then.
Field them.
Alright, can I ask then, do you enjoy being interviewed?
I do, because I like talking. I love it.
It's okay, it's part of the job, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like sweeping up. Yes, I get to take home a lot of rubbish that I sweep up.
For the television appearances, how do you prepare yourself? Are you nervous or anything for those sorts of...
I usually put on my ugliest head. I don't look like this normally. No, it doesn't wind me up at all, because I like talking, so there's no, I don't think of it as anything special.
Yeah. You're
just talking.
Yeah.
And you open the big hole under your nose and it all comes out,
I just sit here and let him do all the talking.
I occasionally work him, but...
I feel a little bit self-conscious actually on TV,
Do you think you need to have to say something and then you start to relax?
I think you do,
you
think if I don't say anything, then they're going to think I'm a real dummy, So you find yourself saying something, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, what did he say that for? He's a real dummy.
So basically, the best thing is to shut up.
Well, you did David Letterman, I believe, earlier.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. Were
Yeah.
the three of you on being interviewed on the show?
No, actually there wasn't an interview. They said, well, we played King for a Day live with the remnants of the Paul Schaefer band. And they said, do you want to be interviewed? And I said, not really, because I can't think of anything that I'd have to say that would be of any import to David Letterman. I mean, I don't really think he knew who we were, and, it was tricky, do you know what I mean? It's like, talking to a bloke down at the car showroom, doesn't know who you are, and you don't give a damn who he is, and vice versa.
Yeah.
No, they said, do you want to do an interview? And I said, no, not really. We'll play our tune and then go and have a few bevies.
There wasn't really any common ground to speak to him about, So it was just him coming over at the end of the show, an hour after our performance, and shaking hands. Thank you, guys. The producer did send us a letter afterwards thanking us for being on the show, which was very nice of him.
I said, could we not mess with his wife next time we're over there?
Don't cash the cheque or something like that.
Yeah, right. Check of Noddy land.
But, right, television, do you remember your first Top of the Pops?
I don't.
I can remember it.
I remember it well, actually. It was,
yes.
I think it was Life Begins with a Heartbeat.
Yeah.
On Top of the Pops, but the actual song went down in the charts because we were. We're not doing that again.
Yeah, people saw us on there and they thought, God, how cloddy.
I saw us on there and I thought, God, how cloddy. Actually, I saw it on TV and I was horrified at how fat I was. And it really brought it home to me. My God, I don't look like that, do I?
I think our Top of the Pops got better
as we got thinner.
Yeah.
Because
as we got thinner,
you know their camera angles and you know what they're going to do.
You just have to make sure your nose is well plucked because they get right down with that camera. You don't want anything sort of falling out on the camera.
They tend to film a lot sort of underneath.
That's right, they do, don't
So therefore they catch you sort of going like that.
They catch you kind of looking over your beer gut. It's like, sunrise over your beer gut.
So that's why you'd rather not have it singles, so you don't have to go back on there, I suppose.
Well, Top of the Pops is alright, but it's not as dynamic as everyone thinks. I mean, for a start, when they say, here we are live on Top of the Pops, what they mean is they filmed it only the day before. And when they say, here they are, totally live on Top of the Pops, it means they're miming as it is filmed as you watch them. I mean, nobody's live. I think the last person who was live was, sheesh, I don't know.
Howard Jones actually did it live.
Did he? They caught him then.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to.
He sang and he did a good job, I have to say.
You have to pretend on Top of the Pops to re-record your song. I don't know whether they still do this farce, but the Musicians Union, God bless them, insist that you re-record your song, and then when you've re-recorded your song, to prove that you can really play, they let you go on and mime in front of the re-recorded version, which is all very bizarre. But then again, this is the union that tried to ban synthesizers. So.
Yeah. And what happens is the record company representative takes them out for a meal while you swap the tapes, while you swap it for the real one. Like,
Yeah.
It's all a bit of a farce.
It's all very good for recording B-sides too, you know. But I don't know if they still do that anymore. I hope not.
Well, can I ask you about the Dukes of Stratosphere? How did it come about?
They were the product of a sort of febrile imagination. And,
A fever imagination.
they're just our big brothers, really, resurfaced.
Yeah.
They're the band that we always wanted to be when we were at school. And actually, it goes back to around about the time the band was making Go 2, Andy came to me and said, I've got this idea to make a psychedelic EP, interested? Do you want to play some fuzz guitar? I said, yeah, that'd be fun. And then they were whisked away on tour and didn't hear anything more about it. And until about, you see, it was around about Christmas of '84, just after the Big Express, when Andy was going off to produce Mary Margaret O'Hara. And that session, for various reasons, was suddenly aborted.
My vibes
And,
weren't
yeah, the vibes
the
were...
vibes weren't right. Yeah, they weren't right though. They were too short.
So Andy and John Leckie found themselves in a couple of spare weeks, and suddenly let's make this psychedelic record that we promised ourselves we'd make all those years ago.
David Gregory dreamt he was playing backward fuzz guitar, woke up one afternoon and he was.
That's right.
Yeah, it was just a desire to be, to exorcise, to get rid of the ghosts of all these people that you'd hear. You know, you'd come home from school and you'd have your radio box in the corner, because you were on the pipe at the time. You had, you know, like two stations. You had like mum and dad's music, and or you click the control and it could go to slightly younger pop groovy things. And so you come home from school and it'd be like, you know, see Emily play, or you know, this kind of unusual music. Wow.
The stuff that I used to listen to on the pirate radio stations. I don't know if you remember them, but
Radio Pugwash.
down here in the
That was a good one.
in the south of England anyway, you could get all the ships that were moored out in the Thames estuary, like Radio London, Radio Caroline. Used to play some great music, and it was all like hot. It was like as soon as a record was released, they would play it, and they'd play it solidly for about 2 weeks, and then they'd forget about it and move on to something else. And the chart was constantly refreshing itself with new stuff, and it was just really, I just couldn't stop listening to these stations. They would just have, they were perfect for the time, and you know, I picked up on a lot of good things.
Was it Under the Bedclothes?
Almost. Actually, the reception was really bad in Swindon, you know, that far west.
You had lead bed sheets, that's what it was.
I don't think actually it would pick up in the evening. You could only actually get it in the daytime. But
I think it's still the case for them.
yeah, look, it was Luxembourg is still bad. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't tuned it into many years, but Luxembourg was always a pop program. But the Pirates, Radio London and Radio Caroline and Radio what were the other ones? Oh, some of them had just, you know, 3-number.
I think Luxembourg was better when the Nazis had control of it. Better dance music on it. Well, the Dukes was really an attempt to kind of get out of our system, which failed horribly because it's still well in the system, but some attempt to get out.
Yeah.
You know, the love of psychedelic singles, predominantly English psychedelic singles as well, because the Americans tended to be a bit too political. You know, it was, they had Vietnam, you know, and we didn't. Damn them.
That was the 60s influence, but what about your 50s music? Does any of
Danny
you enjoy
Kaye.
that?
Danny Kaye was a god for me.
Oh, rockabilly, rock and roll.
No, you never got any of that in England.
But do you enjoy that music? Have you got any
rock and roll?
records yet in your collection?
I definitely do now.
Yeah.
Because I've since discovered Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry, and I thought, well, if I'd heard these people when I was a kid, you know, I would have started a lot earlier and been into it a lot earlier. But yeah, certainly in blues from the 50s as well, like Muddy Waters and some of Freddie King and people like that, although he's more early 60s.
Freddie Starr.
I must admit, I'm not familiar with Freddie.
Far.
No, not really, not from the 50s, no. I think my big influences are really from the 70s, the early 70s, late 60s perhaps, yeah. A lot of bands on the Island label, Free, Jethro Tull,
anyone on a sampler really. If he
Yeah,
was 15 and 11, he had it.
Yeah, because you couldn't really afford to buy, you know, a fully fledged record album, you know. So you had to buy samplers, and there were a lot of samplers about at the time, you know. And they got you into a lot of new bands, and so a lot of early 70s music for me, a lot of last days dinosaur acts, I guess. But it was progressive music, or what we called progressive underground music at the time, you know. And I really got into 60s music mainly through the other two guys' enthusiasm for it, you know, a lot of the sillier side, because I knew about the Beatles, the Kinks, you know, the singles side of it. I didn't know a lot of the sillier stuff went on, you know. So I got into that through these guys, through these silly guys.
No, it was pretty purple period generally.
Yeah.
And the 50s for rock and roll, I just missed all that because, you know, we always had a radio of some sort in the house, even if it was just the radio box, you know, but you never got any of that stuff down. All you got was the odd comedy record, like, you know, My Boomerang Won't Come Back, or, I mean, Charlie Drake was huge. Simply Charlie was, a little allusion to Simply Red there, you might get it, but Charlie Drake was pretty enormous in my legend, as was Danny Kaye, with things like Mummy, Give Me a Drink of Water, which used to give me nightmares. I used to like the bit about the airplane flying around my room. But those were the interesting records, you know. Otherwise, it was just kind of trish trash polka and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Or da 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 da, sing something simple, which I hate vehemently. It was like you knew it was like the Holocaust was approaching. You were going to school Monday morning.
Yeah.
You could smell your mum ironing your school trousers to the sound of da 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 da, sing, and your dad would be in his like, you know.
Yeah, that was 7 o'clock on a Sunday night.
I mean, I used to get, like, what do they call it, totem angst or death angst. I knew that the gas chamber's oblique school was facing me Monday morning.
Because
so.
the television went off about 6:30 because it was like religious hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, praise be.
The old chap went down the pub and your mum got you ready for bath time, you know.
In front of the fire with the towel around or something.
Yeah, well, you could come down, if you'd been good, you could come down after your bath. And you just prayed in your gym jams and your dressing gown, you just prayed they didn't show a travel film with lots of naked women in the jungle on. So that'd immediately give you a tented dressing gown. So you'd be leaning forward watching the programme like this, thinking, God, I wish this was the end so I could get up and go to bed.
See, when the religious hour was finished, it was The Fugitive, wasn't it? That was the thing that came on at 7:25 when the religious hour was finished, so you had to hurry up and get your bath over with, get down for The Fugitive. So you could play like 1 hour man.
I'd be playing with my plastic Stingray kit in the bath. I didn't realise you're not supposed to take it in the bath because it all falls apart in the hot water, but it's been fun while it lasted.
Bringing us up to date, talking about the music, Stock Aitken and Waterman. I mean,
His stock, Aitken.
Some people say they're good for the British record industry.
Well, they probably are good for the British record industry, but then again, the key word is record industry. You know, key words. That's, you know, what's the record industry got to do with music?
Yeah.
I leave it to your vile imaginations. You know, it's an industry, isn't it? It's like shoes or baked beans, or it's any industry. You know, packaging up stuff in easily handleable chunks.
It's the whole concept that a person who appears on TV is actually, you know, they take the figure and say, right, you can sing, you know, and they associate the two. I think teenagers associate the fact that you appeared on a show like EastEnders or whatever, that you can actually sing. You know, the two are inseparable in young people's minds, I think.
So
yeah, if you're on telly, you're a star. You know, whether you're on the news because you got hit by a truck, you know, suddenly you're a star. So it's just all you need is Stock Aitken and Waterman to get a sequencer revved up behind you and complete the picture. Well, they're fine for the British record industry, but the British record industry has nothing to do with music.
We can talk about blind Neighbours. Thinking about Teddy Chambers, really. You see him appearing in Neighbours, something like that.
Yeah, right. Well, you probably passed Terry. He'd probably be in the gutter as the camera pans along, maybe there with his cradle in his tin.
What was the first record you ever bought? Can you remember?
One of us. Hang on a second. What, single or album? Or?
Go on, it was O Bondage up yours, wasn't it?
The first album was Fire and Water by Free. First single was probably a few years before that. It was all chart stuff, I guess. Spencer Davis Group, Kings. What was Penny Lane, I think it was.
Good one to start, really.
Me? You see, it's a difficult history because I was always loaning a record player complete with records from the kid over the road, the big lummox that later went on to be our roadie. He had a record player and I'd borrow it lock, stock and barrel and his record collection, and it was a sort of a funny period where I don't remember what were his records and what were mine, but I remember buying Baby Come Back by the Equals, which I thought was great, especially the bit where it went out on the offbeat and what's his name, Eddie Graham was doing the cha 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 cha, and very influential in my guitar playing style, the Equals actually. And I also bought Jumpin' Jack Flash, that was an early one, and then I bought a load of second-hand things like C. Emily Play off Kid at School, and a lot of Small Faces singles, which I thought were, the B-sides are brilliant, or the A-sides are good, the B-sides are even better. And I think I bought the Monkees' first album with a Christmas record token, and Sgt. Pepper around a similar time, so I had these two albums to muck around with. But it's kind of a shadowy area, because I don't remember what records belonged to this chap over the road. I mean, I know that he used to be infatuated with the word stereo as well, and he'd buy anything if it said stereo on it. But we never had a stereo record player, that's the thing. He had a mono record player, and he rigged it up so he had two speakers on it. And then he'd occasionally unplug one and the other and say, "Here, listen, Andy, stereo." And then suddenly the signal would appear to go over there. Look, now listen, look, it goes back to the other one now. So we used to have these psychedelic sessions where he'd get me to lay on the back kitchen table, and it's okay, it doesn't get any dirtier. He'd get me to lay on the back kitchen table, and he'd put two speakers by my ears, like this. And I had a Popeye Give a Show projector. I had the Popeye model. And we spent ages cutting out the individual frames from the Popeye Give a Show strip, and we sellotaped them all on top of each other so they were just a psychedelic mass of colours. We'd leave this in the projector, projecting on the ceiling, and it'd slowly melt as the evening went on, you know, this thing. So I was led there watching these chopped up Popeye things melting, and he'd run around with like the B-side of C. Emily Play, which I think was Scarecrow. And he'd run around unplugging and plugging in these two speakers to imitate stereo. And there was Popeye melting strangely in front of us.
Asked you if we were getting
yeah, you getting anything yet? You wait, my mate's got a joss stick, I'll bring that in next week. So it's a shadowy area.
Yeah. Do you remember the question, Dave?
I do actually. I had an answer prepared and I forgot.
Don't you start talking!
That's the first record was a Christmas present. It was I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles, and I played it to death. I remember. First
You never had a record player.
No, we did. Actually, brand new. It was a stereogram.
Stereogram. Well, you had to put the shut the doors.
That's right.
For more bass.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got it. And with Garrett Decade. Prior to that, we just had a wind-up 78 clockwork. It was a big thing actually. It wasn't just a little. It was a proper big. It wasn't a wind-up, I tell a lie, it was electric, but it was a 78 turntable.
A hamster on a rubber band, that sort of thing.
And it had this enormous heavy pickup arm with these metal spikes.
Whoa! For playing Megadeth albums on this.
Yeah, no, this was years before, of course, but my dad had this, shellac factory with just this massive 78 records that weighed about 6 tons. And it was all, serious classical stuff. That's what I really cut my teeth on. Then when we got of course he'd always sort of put off buying this up-to-date record player because he knew what had happened. We'd start buying records and annoying the hell out of him. But then he couldn't, his 78s were wearing out and he wanted to buy some proper classical LPs, so he splashed out on the stereogram. So that was, I think we got that in, that was Christmas of '63, not Christmas of '64. So I was about 9, 10, no, I was 11.
You're making this up as you go. Actually, I do like the concept of shutting the door for more bass. I mean, kids today got it easy. They just turn the controller, flick the graphic. I mean, what is wrong with actually having to close the door for more bass? Those are the days when timber was,
the essence.
Absolutely, and click and shut them, brilliant.
You have to be careful how you shut the doors though, because if you slammed them, it would jump the styles.
Of course, and you get a bit more bass than you bargained for.
As you got into buying records and getting into certain artists, did any of you join a fan club?
I didn't know. You were almost a member of the Monkeys fan club.
Well, no, not the Monkeys fan club. I got Monkeys Monthly. I used to get that. I was a big Monkeys fan. I associated heavily with Peter Tork and all the clothes, you know, the panelled shirt with the buttons and the hipsters with the big white plastic belts. I used to have my hair when I had hair. I used to have this sort of big pudding mason cut, and you know, just to try and sort of get it to lollop like Peter Tork's, because he was the stupid one in the group, and I was the stupid one in the town. I was the stupid one in England. So I associated heavily with the Monkeys. Got Monkeys Monthly. In fact, won a competition. I was one of something like 5 winners, a draw monkey competition. And I got £10 for that, which went towards buying a second-hand tape recorder, which sort of started me on a long career of making noises. So the Monkeys are sort of inadvertently responsible for me making a bit of a row now.
So was that picture printed in the monthly?
It was, yeah.
Oh, well, now have all the fans going
That's
out
right, somewhere out there in a
looking for
Monkeys Monthly.
What number?
I think I've got it in the house somewhere. I'll try and dig it out.
I'll try. Yeah, I'll pass the number on so they can.
I think some of the bands that I like, I just never had fan clubs, because I always associate fan clubs with being sort of with chart groups, you know, and I was never into chart groups because they were just, you know, yeah. So some of the bands that I like, I don't think they ever had sort of fan clubs.
You never had arms, most of the bands you liked, I think.
Mutants. So yeah, I mean, bands like Jethro Tull, I mean, have they got fan clubs now? I guess they have now.
Yeah.
At the time, they were pretty sort of underground groups, like, you know, and underground groups didn't have fan clubs. So.
Yeah.
They were good for. They got pompous. They got pretty pompy after a while. Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
I liked their sort of folky, jazzy stuff.
Yeah, I guess sort of Aqualung and Thick as a Brick really heralded
Probably.
the demise.
Yeah, Pompadour, Madame Pompadour.
Do you listen to the radio often?
No, no, never have it on.
No.
Actually, I have a clock alarm radio,
Yeah.
so I wake up every morning to this inane prattle on Radio 1, and it's just, I can't imagine why anyone would want to sort of listen to that all day. It's just, it drives me nuts just for the half an hour that I listen to it.
I've got the same alarm as him, so we're probably...
It's better than tuning
But
in.
if you turn yours on, when yours goes on, his goes down to half volume, and then have to split it between them.
It's better than having the buzzer waking you up.
Yeah. What about the American stations? Did you?
Well, they're American radio is a lot healthier because you have choice.
Yeah.
Over here, you haven't got any choice. It's on or off over here. That's it. Well, I have the radio on, or shall I have it off? Gosh, you know, that's your choice.
I mean, they've got country and western stations. They've got, you know, what they call AOR stations.
Religious heavy metal stations.
Just the whole spectrum. And I think if you know, while we were in Los Angeles, we used to tune into K-Rock, which were the, you know, I guess you'd hear more, less chart stuff and more sort of stuff that you wouldn't normally hear, you know. So that was quite refreshing to listen to that sometimes, you know. So yeah, you've got a wider choice.
What's the response like in America at the moment to the band?
It's very good, and it's the biggest. I thought was going to be the last place on earth we'd ever sell records, but at the moment, it's the you know, by far and away the biggest marketplace for what we do. So
The college chart.
thank you.
I noticed in Q magazine you were top of the college charts. Is it as it suggests the college charts? It's all.
Well, the college charts I think means to do with, because over there all the colleges and universities have their own radio stations,
Yeah.
which you know obviously the students and their mates listen to and stuff. So it doesn't mean sales, because students don't buy albums. I certainly didn't. I either borrowed them or cassetted them off of mates or nicked them. Yeah.
In America,
second-hand
it's
shelf.
quite a different system over here. You know, they have what's known as airplay charts. That means to say, what if you're on a heavy rotation? That means if your record's getting played, say 4 or 5.
If your rotation is heavy.
Yeah, 4 or 5 times a day, then that's considered heavy rotation, and you would be sort of further up the airplay chart. And there's also what's known as a sales chart, which mainly concerns more mainstream
Top 40 stuff.
Top 40 stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's it's quite a different system, you know. And we supposedly are top of the alternative charts, which is the airplay for college stations and so forth.
Japan. How are you going down?
Finland. You'll go.
Yeah. Word association. How are you doing in Japan? Do you know?
Well, apparently very well. We never used to sell too many in Japan, so I think the Japanese like it a bit theatrical, you know. They like kind of stack eels with goldfish in and dry ice rockets, fake blood, you know, they like all that sort of stuff. And that's just the weather.
We've come up and gone down in the charts.
We've gone down. I hope no one has it on film.
No, things have got better for us in America, a lot better, and things have got healthier for us in Japan. Things haven't gone all that well for us in Canada of late, although we did have a gold album in Canada for Drums and Wires, but since then it's really gone downhill steadily, you know. And
Oranges and Lemons it went marshmallow, I think, in Canada. It went wood.
So yes, I mean things changed in different territories for us over the years, you know. So on balance, I guess, you know, the gradient is still going up, you know.
It's funny, we used to sell really well in the old colonies at one point, didn't we? Like really big in New Zealand and Australia and Canada, anywhere where check shirts were a boom. But nowadays they don't want to know. So yeah, little upstarts that want to be independent next.
Talk about countries. I mean, do you go abroad for your holidays? Where do you spend your holidays? Don't give too much.
We won't talk about it. Where did you spend your holidays this year?
I had another holiday in, well, I mean, I'm on permanent holiday really.
Better than working.
I don't know, I mean, I don't, buckets and spades are not really,
No, us three are not beach people at all, you know.
The beach people.
Beach people.
I get around. Well, I had one day in Weymouth with the family, but we all got diarrhea, so we came home after. We were supposed to have 4 glorious days, but we only had 1 awful day, so we came home.
The thing is, when you have a family, I mean, the children's idea of the perfect holiday differs to yours.
Yeah.
So I mean, my idea is to just look around crusty old bookshops all day, and that really bores the shit out of the whole family. But you know, the kids just want the sea or the pool and stuff, and the sand and all the rest of it. So and that's not my idea of a holiday. So we very rarely go on holiday.
I'm like him. I'm a crusty bookshop merchant. You know, I prefer to go. I can't stick the idea of laying out in the sun like some sort of pork sausage. You know, with somebody coming along and poking you and like turning you over. You know, it doesn't appeal to me. So I kind of, you know, shop till I drop, or the Museum of Gravel or whatever.
You could probably stick a day of it.
I mean, Terry, he just up and went to Australia, didn't he?
Well, yeah, that's one
long
big beach, Australia. You know, he's now one of the 6 people that live there.
Talking about ex-members, Barry, he's living in London, I believe. Do you see him often?
Saw him about 18 months ago, because his parents still live in Swindon, so he's got a son now, so he brings the son down to see his grandparents, and they usually look after the son for the night while Barry goes out with his old mates, mainly
down the boozer.
That's right, that sort of thing.
And that's the kid who's got to poke the lumpy bits down the sink, I think, later on.
So, yeah, I mean, that happened about 18 months ago. He came down to Swindon for the night, you know.
It's difficult going out with Barry for the night, though, because he's got this big Nosferatu ambience, you know. You can't really go in the wheat sheep, and he breezes in with his sort of black cape on and shaved head, you know, with green lipstick and orders a pint.
He's taken on this sort of cosmopolitan ambience sort of thing, and when he comes out to our local village, he just looks like a real fiend, you know.
But bear in mind, he could be at the convention watching this.
Well, he looks pretty outrageous.
Well, if you are at the convention, you're bloody difficult to go out with for the night.
That's right, but you know, it's still good mates, you know.
Yeah. Could you ever see?
I met him for the first time a couple of years back. I hadn't seen him for 5 years, and then I did a TV show for Sky, I think it was the Sky channel, you know, one of the made-up channels, not a real channel. And they said, yeah, come pair a show. Who do you want to talk to on the show? So I said, let's have Barry Andrews on. So he came on. He was amazingly friendly, and there was absolutely no animosity. Because when he left the band and parted company, it was a little bit. But nothing at all now. You know, we've both grown up and grown out, and got used to the idea. And I met him again about a year ago, and got on really well together.
Could you ever see Terry and Barry coming back to the band, or?
Not unless it was some sort of kinky reunion album that would be of no use to anyone.
Can I ask about Richard Branson? Does he take an interest in XTC?
He doesn't seem to take an interest in living much. He's continually trying to find ways to top himself. Yes, I'm thinking of, I'm going to go around the world and squeezed into a small soup tin. I'm going to be kicked around the world by Ian Botham. We're great friends. No, I don't think he knows bugger all about. I don't even think he knows who's on the label, to be truthful. It doesn't have much to do with the music side of it.
I did write to him to ask if he would like to come up to the convention or contribute a few words for the programme, but I just got a phone call from his secretary saying he was busy. So
he's trying to think of a new way of, you know, get the guillotine to work as he's.
He appeared in the video Generals and Majors, didn't he? Has he got an equity card, a musician's union?
Yeah, and it's real wine they're drinking. It's not stage wine. They were really unmanageable from about 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, he did. Yeah, because he was, you know, it's his house. He turned up for the weekend. And, he was at the Manor, you see.
We were doing that Manor party thing. It was all around the time of doing the XTC at the Manor. And we hadn't a video for the current single, and we complained to Richard about it. And he said, well, there's a camera team here, we've got to make one.
No, come along guys, get into the spirit of it.
So it happened the day of the party, you know, so it was all pretty, you know, a bit of a
But we've said sorry since, and they've had the damage repaired.
It was a dreadful video, but it was better than nothing.
But he did actually get involved with a song he actually sang this
oh yes
song.
Yes.
It's called Hot Leathers and Fists of Fire. And it was like this heavy metal thing that we were doing in the... I can't remember how we came around to do it, but he came in ferociously drunk and proceeded to sing this song.
Well, I think it was a spare evening, and yeah, let's put out a heavy metal number under another name. And so we knocked up this riff between us, and Colin penned a few heavy metal lyrics in the control room in about 5 minutes. And as Dave said, it was called Hot Leathers and a Fist of Fire.
Or a fist of fire.
A fist, just one fist. And there was a rumour that Richard Branson was around in the house. And so they said, yeah, he's a bit tanked up. Get him in here, he can sing it. And of course, Colin handed in the lyrics. And so we put the headphones on and said, go. And he never knew how the song went, and he just kind of recites it in a sort of drunken Shakespearean manner. And it's around somewhere.
I don't have a copy of it. Somebody's got it.
Unfortunately, I have
any of you conventionalists?
What, the video?
No, the track.
Yeah. There's one to look for.
You're talking about doing under a different name. The record by the Spies.
No, it's not us.
No.
It's really not us.
Okay.
Besides, somebody brought me a copy to sign. I said, look, this is not us. He said, it doesn't matter. You still got to sign it.
It sounds very XTC.
I didn't know why he didn't bring his Perry Como albums. No, that's not me. I don't sign it.
Videos, Colin, I noticed that in the Wonderland video you appear with a tasty ballerina. Is it difficult in those situations when you're arm in arm not to
look her in
to
the
get
eye
involved?
Take her seriously.
Not to get a tented, rented suit.
It is a bit, yeah. Because I'd feel really uncomfortable in videos most of the time.
I mean, you seem to be looking in one another's eyes at one point.
It's
no, they were
camera trick.
They were rented eyes. They weren't her eyes. He didn't have to look into them. He was staring at
all
her
three of them.
No, she wasn't. She one of Pan's people.
No, she wasn't. No,
Oh,
they tried to get one of Pan's people, Cherry Gillespie. Heard of her, but they couldn't get her. So
actually, I think when there was the possibility of being thrown into a newt-infested swimming pool, she suddenly changed her mind.
Yeah. She didn't want.
Yeah, that's it. She falls into it, doesn't she?
That's right. Yeah. Poor thing. They spent hours trying to talk her into doing that because it was like sub-zero temperatures.
You just pushed her.
She'd only go in once we put a handful of newts in there.
I think most of the people at the convention probably know that we're all reluctant video makers.
Yeah. Which are your favourite videos, though?
Anything with Johnny Morris in it, really. Them All from the Ministry.
Yeah.
The Dukes. I think that's the best one.
What was I guess so.
Because that's just good fun, and it came out how we wanted it to come out. But none of the others have come out how we wanted them to come out. Because
Well, the phone pop roll video and cloud.
sure, yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Because we had control over those. But all the kind of official videos are unpleasing.
Respectable street with the punks next door.
Oh, that was quite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what got it did get good by the time they wheeled in the old people.
Yes.
Because the little toothless old man who plays Father Punk next door was a teetotaler, and there was a load of tins of beer around, and they said, you know, come on, you want to get into the party, you need a tin of beer if you're going to be a punk. So this little old character with his actually I think he started with his teeth in. But he had a couple of tins of something like, I can't remember, you'll have to pause the video to see what he's drinking, but he's a complete teetotaler, he's never drunk in his life, and he was out of the game, he really was. And he had these bondage trousers on, which made it difficult to walk, you know, so he was like falling over the back of this settee, and he lost his teeth at one point down the back of the settee, and it was great to watch him, you know, he enjoyed that video
He really threw
tremendously.
himself into it.
He literally, yeah.
I think the videos that I dislike the most are the ones where actually have to some sort of acting is required. You know?
Yeah.
I think our best videos are the ones where just they turn on the camera and we're just doing it or having fun or just learning around and or playing the song. You know, we're not required to be some.
At least hiding behind a guitar.
That's right. Yeah.
I think all our best videos have either been made by REM or the Replacements.
I like Made of Simpleton. I think
That's
it's a
alright.
cracking video.
Yeah.
It will do.
Oh, really?
But generally we're not, you know, if we had to vote yes or no for videos, no would be a 3-minute blank film is our...
Have you kept any of the props from the various videos? I mean, I don't mean like the lion from
No.
for a day.
I got married in the trousers that we're wearing in the Generals and Majors videos because I never had any black trousers, but I haven't got them anymore.
So, I mean, my next question was going to be, do you enjoy making them? But you've already really answered that. How much creative control do you have then? Nothing at all.
Hardly anything. What happens is they kind of there's a filmmaker who's found for you. We'll find you a filmmaker, you know. And then they get the filmmaker to come and see you, and you spend all day with the filmmaker chatting and drawing and getting the whole thing. You turn up on the day of the shoot and it's nothing like what you wanted. You suddenly find yourself trapped in this rotten situation.
Well, the director is obviously in a tricky situation because he first and foremost he has to please the employer, namely Virgin, and please the band as well. And as most people know, you know, never the twain shall meet. You know, so he's piggy in the middle. You know? Yes. So it's difficult for him. But you know, he usually pleases nobody in the end.
Right, Andy, I mean, in the Nigel video, you were made up to look like the Joker. Is it a part that you might have liked to have played in the movie?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen Batman. Ben rang up, he's seen Batman. You don't know who Ben is. Actually, he played guitar on the Colonel's Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen.
Yeah.
He's credited as Burt, but his
Burt
real name is
Ben.
Poor Devil. He rang up, he's seen the Joker, he's seen Batman in Devices.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yes. So, sorry, we'll talk about this later.
Did you enjoy it?
I think he did, but we will talk about it later.
What I did actually, I rang round some of the people who were helping with the convention, and I said, look, I'm meeting the lads, can you give me a question that I can present to them on your behalf? So I'm going to read out the names and the question, maybe you can give the answer on film.
So we got there, there's a few dog footprints, a bit of crayon down there.
This question was from Andy Atkinson from Swindon in North Manchester. Swindon. Have any of you had any formal guitar tuition before or since the band started?
Not guitar tuition, no.
Yeah, I had some bass lessons for about 6 months, which weren't very informative, you know. Yeah, it was just went on for about 6 months on and off, you know. I thought, you know, I'm not getting anywhere with this, so I listened to records and tried to imitate records, you know. I think that's the way I picked it up.
Well, the old bloke giving you the lessons, he couldn't get behind anything by Sabbath, really. You know what I mean? He was sort of, you know, you were doing Goodbye Dolly Gray with him, and what you really wanted to do was War Pigs.
War Pigs, yeah. It was, yeah, it was pretty much the why don't you old Bill Bailey school, I think. Absolutely, yeah. It was, why don't you come home, old Bill Bailey?
And you wanted to do Children of the
Why don't
Grave.
you come home, Ozzy Osbourne?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mark Cooper from Sale He says here, knowing the band are keen cult TV fans, i.e. The Prisoner, I wonder if they have any particular memories or thoughts of my favourite TV show, Doctor Who, and the big question is, who is their favourite Doctor?
Whoa. Not the Pakistani chap with the fat hips who's in the surgery down Park Lane. I don't like him much. It was really rude.
It has to be William Hartnell, isn't it? First guy.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a soft spot for Troughton.
Yeah.
It was, his beetle wig 4 sizes too big and his check trousers.
But it all seemed a lot more sort of frightening with William Hartnell in a way. You know? Well, we were younger and more, you know, could take it in more. So
Did you see the very first Doctor Who?
With the cavemen?
I did, yeah. Yeah, the very first one. I was hid behind the settee. I was petrified.
Yeah. I think the most frightening one was when the Daleks invaded London. I think that was, you know.
Actually, I was at the sort of age watching those early Doctor Who's. Steve Warren used to come over and he used to, for some reason, a bit of early sexual stuff here. He used to insist on laying on me as we watched Doctor Who. Well, no, I think he was like, you know, I don't know how old he would have been. How old? What was the first Doctor?
62, I would say.
No, I'd say 61 actually.
Might be.
We're somewhere between 61, 2 and 3. In any case, he used to sort of say, "You lay down there and I'll lay on you." I was stupid enough to all right then, because he beat me up. He was bigger than me. So if I didn't let him lay on me when Doctor Who was on, he beat me up. So that's my memories of Doctor Who. Yeah, what else do I remember? Oh yeah, Zarbies. I used to play at being a Zarbi, which is like a big ant with fat legs. Every sort of fat legs.
What's that? What, one pair of fat legs?
One pair of fat legs and a load of thing was just that useless, you know. Not really like an ant at all, really.
Actually, I thought the Mekons. Was it the Mekons?
No, you got Dan Dare, he was thinking.
No, who were the people with the enormous heads? And you could see the
Skin
moving. Well, you could see the skin moving when they breathed, you know, he had enormous heads.
Yeah, it's not the Mekons, that's down there. Yeah. I can't think.
No.
I used to like the Ice Warriors very much.
Oh, yeah, I think
Bernard Bresslaw was the chief Ice Warrior. Yeah, because he was the tallest actor they could get at short notice. So he, Doctor! In fact, that was a big pun while we were doing Big Express, because Pete Phipps got called the Abominable Dr. Phipps. Continuously, so you know, there'd be lots of talk on the studio monitor where you'd be talking, Pete, Doctor, you know, so everyone would be talking in Ice Warrior language while we were doing Big Express. Bit of trivia there for you folks.
Gary O'Donnell from Liverpool, he's asked, out of all the producers you've worked with, which have you found the most enlightening and why?
Most enlightening, Mr. Sri Arthur Gortimer.
Todd Rundgren by a country mile. He was just...
By a what? 3 mile?
He's just, you know, a musical... He's a musician, is what he is. And it was just a real experience working with him. He's just... Because you always knew that he had something up his sleeve. He'd let you...
Bloody longest arm you've ever seen!
He'd let you carry on, you know, going up your little blind alleys and not really coming up with much. And then at the end of the day, at the 11th hour, he'd pull the perfect thing out of my hand and say, this is what you should do.
Or he wouldn't unlock the studio door until he did it his way.
I think he'd probably have to put me down for Todd as well.
Yeah.
As being the most interesting producer how to produce this, because he assumed total control. I mean, many of the other producers many other productions had a lot of band input, whereas I think, you know, it was totally the other side of Skylarking. You know. So it was basically, you know, Todd Rundgren show, really. But it was still, I mean, he's a great musician and he did a lot of good things with Skylarking. A lot of amazing things with the arrangements. You know.
Yeah.
So I think...
So you'd work with him again, really?
I don't know whether I would really, because he
want
could
to
be...
really?
No, he was difficult, you know.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that impressed with the way he engineered the album and the way it sounded when it came out. But just the fact that... just his contribution, you know, he just actually, he put in probably as much, well, probably more than, you know, we did.
So I think the band's always had it in its head that one day we'd probably be produced by George Martin, and I think he's probably the nearest thing we ever got to him, you know.
Bob Martin, the bloke who does the dog tap. Actually, I don't...
Andy didn't like Todd.
No, I don't have a favourite producer, that's really what I'm trying to say. I like all of them for different reasons. You see, we've been lucky stroke unlucky stroke lucky enough to have all these different producers, and they all have a different angle on the thing. I mean, like David Lord has got a very orchestral viewpoint on things, so you like learn little bits and pieces from. Or there's John Leckie, who's just so easygoing, you know, makes the whole thing just one summer holiday when you're in the studio. Or there's Hugh Padgham, whose engineering is so dynamic, you know, you can just record you playing a guitar and it's, you know, sort of steamrolls out the speakers. They all have different things. It's a bit like comparing girlfriends, really. You know, you love them all at the time, and you still do in one way or other. You know, so tricky.
Yeah, thanks. Gary Barrett from Swindon. What do you think about Virgin's handling of the band? There appears to be a reluctance to push the group into the public eye. Wouldn't it be easier to change labels?
No, in fact we're ludicrously committed for another 6 albums.
No, I think there's 4 more. I think we have to
Something like that.
We're committed.
But yes, they don't. No, I feel sorry for Virgin, because what the hell do they do with us? You know, we're not really your standard 14-year-old pop stars. And the music that we make is either considered by most people to be archaic or too square or too unusual, or depends which side of the fence you sit, you know. So I don't envy Virgin. How the hell do they sell what we do? It's tricky. I think it's very straight and very accessible, but they obviously don't, you know.
It's been very frustrating over the years to hear people come up and say, look, your album's not in the record shops, you know.
Oh, that's what really gets on my neck.
I've heard that so many times, and you often think,
it's true.
Is it Virgin's fault? Whose fault is it? It's got to be Virgin's, isn't it?
Yeah.
So from that angle, yeah, I mean, would it be any better anywhere else? You're going to ask yourself. But
yep, you'll always find a Simple Minds album. You'll always find, you know, you name them.
Genesis.
Yep, you'll find them.
True.
But you won't find anything by us. So it's it's difficult because they don't quite know what to do with us now. I don't think they've known what to do with us since about 78, something like that.
I'd like to be honest with you. I mean, when I contacted Virgin, mentioning names, John Best. I mean, he's supposed to be pushing the band, yet there doesn't seem to be an interest there. I mean, if it was my job, I mean, to be involved with all these bands, you know, they should be shoving out information to the fanzine as soon as it comes on the desk. Yeah, like Mark Fisher, he has to write and ask for it. And it.
Well, I think they have too many bands.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. Instead of giving one band 25% of your attention, they give one band 1% of their attention because they've got too many.
Yeah.
You know, how do you spread it? And,
well, you have to bear in mind that we've been on the Virgin books for some 12 years now, you know. So I guess
we'll be getting our gold trust soon.
They get a little bit sort of complacent with this, I guess. You know, we've not had a manager for the last 4 or 5 years, 5 to 6 years, in fact. So I guess had we had a manager who was willing to go into Virgin and slam the briefcase down on the table and say, you must give XTC more publicity and that, maybe, you know, we're not like those sort of guys, you know, we're not managers, we like making music. We don't want to spend our time doing it to Virgin, demanding more publicity, you know. So I guess had we been those sort of individuals, or had we had a manager, then maybe we'd have had more records in the shops, and, you know.
Yeah, if you had a hit single, they'd just sweep the set everything off the table and XTC get. Darryl Bullock from Gloucester wants to know if it's okay to perform Saturn Boy during the evening part of the convention. Who wrote that and from what period?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I did. A long time ago. Long time ago. During the glammy phase. Yes, Saturn Boy. Well, it did have the immortal line, "Baby, dig me, but don't bring Digby." Which I thought, it's Wordsworthian in its depth of angst. Well, if he can work out the words and the chords, he can play it. Best of British. Yes, please do, but you can claim you wrote it as well if you like.
Cressida Hamer from Lancaster asks, she'd like to ask, what is your favourite vegetable so she can plant it in her allotment in your honour? How about that?
My favourite vegetable, Ken Livingstone. What's my favourite vegetable? I used to hate cabbage, but now I like cabbage with a vengeance. You can't mix it with brown ale; it's deadly. Cabbage, anything cabbage, broccoli,
Broccoli's good.
cauliflower or Brussels sprouts. Any of those four. You kind of, you know, your basic round, green, lumpy, stodgo veg. That's right.
Curly cow.
Curly kale for Colin.
Leeks.
And yourself?
I like broccoli and fresh baby carrots, new potatoes.
So our allotment's got to be big now.
Paedophilic kind of baby carrot sex.
If you'd have said fruit, would you have said oranges and lemons?
What favourite fruits? Let me see. No, grapes actually. I like to sort of peel them naked. I lay there naked and peel them.
There's a couple more from Cressida. I mean, I asked for one question from each and she sends me 20. But there's a couple more. What is the most embarrassing fashion mistake in your wardrobe?
It's still in the wardrobe.
Actually, it's not the XTC tie, is it?
Oh, that must have been. It could be.
Do you still have an XTC tie?
Yeah.
Some wag thought, new wave, skinny ties. So they had some skinny ties with XTC printed on, which are pretty rotten, I must confess.
Actually, I've got a very embarrassing suit that was bought for a Top of the Pops performance. It was about 2 sizes too big. The shoulders are out here, and the trousers. Actually, I was quite heavy at the time, so the trousers are sort of, you know, quite.
I just thought you were sort of pre-stop making sense.
No, it was an awful mistake. I have to be honest.
But you could dance in it and nobody knew you were moving around, you know.
Stop making suits like that.
And it was this sort of wonderful aquamarine blue sort of colour as well.
If you look carefully, the word Chipperfield hadn't washed out quite. No, I've had worse things than that.
I don't know.
Well, come on, the gold fur skin-tight trousers with the
But they're
3
not still
foot...
in your wardrobe.
They're still not... Yeah, is this still in the wardrobe? Is
Still
this
in
the...
the wardrobe, I think is the criteria.
Still in the wardrobe. I'm just kind of really dull clothes. I'm like man at C&A at the moment, you know. Man at Millets, yeah.
I've always worn my clothes with good faith, you know.
Yeah,
I thought that they were all pretty, you know, up together and whatnot, but maybe the other guys can enlighten me.
So, well, I mean, what have your stuff you've still got?
I guess the
What about that old grey pullover you used to have? Long neck about 8 years ago.
well, that was my wife's auntie's pullover, which I used to wear.
Oh, you used to fill it somewhat better than you did, with the 2 huge baggy areas at the front.
Well, I don't know, I quite liked it, but I guess
It was like off the back of a trawler, you know, after they finished trawling, doing some deep sea trawling with it.
baggy jumpers are in, you know.
Well, that one wasn't, ever, I don't think.
I did have a shirt that I bought for Top of the Pops, which I guess is pretty embarrassing now. Yeah, all, did I buy it or did you buy it? I think you bought it and didn't want it.
What was that?
It had all...
So this brings into question my clothes taste.
It had all question marks over it, do you remember?
No, that was the suit. That was the Riddler suit.
The Riddler suit, was that yours?
If I supplied the question marks, they were stick-on question marks. Question marks printed by, courtesy of my brother-in-law.
Yes, I guess looking back on that.
That was the thing, if ever we had any TV to do, we were
Oh, it's
always
dreadful.
shoved down to the King's
Road. Look, lads, can you go down King's Road? We've got TV tomorrow or tonight, and
Go on, smarten yourselves up.
here's 20 quid, bring me the change. That sort of thing. So, you know, you'd come back with these kind of, you know, clockwork revolving bondage kilt or whatever. You'd panic, you know, at the last minute.
Yeah.
I've got 3 minutes left for the shop shuts. Which one shall I have? There's a
I think
lot.
I'm more embarrassed about haircuts than I am clothes, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll swap back again.
Another one from Cressida. What do you think the secret is behind Shaking Stevens' enduring appeal?
He throws up his career to Viz, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he sold his soul to the editor of Viz.
Viz had kept him in the public eye.
He's the Elvis doppelganger, and that's all there is to it. You know. There is no more Elvis, but there's still Shaky for all the old women who can't tell the difference.
That's right, there's a lot of, you know, grannies and that, and mums and dads that really like that sort of music, and there's obviously a market for it.
Yeah.
Shaky's come about because of it, you know.
Good guitar player on his records, I have to say that.
And Shaky hiccups well. You know, he does it. But, you know, it's all these old, barely alive old people who can't tell the difference between Elvis Costello, Elvis Presley or Shaky Stevens, and probably mistakenly buy all their records at the same time.
Toby Howard from Flixton asks, is there any possibility of XTC putting out an album of tracks with a 70s influence? The disco sound maybe is the Mirror Balls.
God, I'll do my zip up. You've seen my mirror ball. No, not disco, because I hated the orchestral disco stuff. It was really bad. That was like, to me, it was like the lowest point in music bar right now. Was the about a third of the way through the 70s. It was pretty dark.
The glitter side of
The glitter side, we could do that.
We could definitely do that with Self-Conviction, because we were pretty involved with that side of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, as the Helium Kids, we were the very, well, I was going to say pinnacle, but it's not really, sort of more the abyss, the very abyss of glitter hell. So, yeah, I'd like to do the Helium Kids' greatest hits at some point, but they're bad songs. See Saturn Boys, spool back a bit.
Actually, no, there are some great songs.
Shut him up! Don't believe him!
Great, didn't they?
But I don't know whether I'd quite fit then, because I was never really into that sort of music at the time. But I have to admit, the songs were they were great fun.
Well, we could have that arm sawn off, and you could sort of play the parts.
Dirk Lockman from Germany didn't have a question when he phoned me the other night. He just
Do we intend to annex the Sudetenland and when? Do we need any help?
He just sent his best wishes, so I said I'd pass that on actually. So best wishes from
Thank you, boys.
Richard Flood from D-Side, North Wales, was stuck for a question, and so he said bugger it and asked them what's your favourite colour.
Anything fleshy.
Straight question, straight answer.
Actually, just different things look better in different colours. For example, I don't know whether guitars look particularly good in blue, but then again, red jeans look pretty naff. But I don't know, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say solid black.
This is a generality, I would say green.
Green is my favourite colour by, you know, when it all comes down to it. Green is, especially dark green. I used to hate it. It was my dad's favourite colour though. I am mouldy and old mannish. And here I am, mouldy and old mannish, and I really like dark green.
Question from Chris Toomey from London. I believe you're involved in a new television series, Fishing with Renee. What will you be doing in that programme?
Oh, that was me actually.
Oh.
You get this, put it on pause, you secretive swine. What is this fishing?
No, don't put it on pause. I haven't done the thing yet.
What is it?
What is it?
This guy called Rene rang me up and said, would I be interested in doing a spot on a fishing programme?
I read some chat-up lines.
Which he I said yes, I would, you know, but we were just about to go off to America at the time, so I said, when he wanted me to do the filming, like, and so I said, when I come back, perhaps you could give me a ring and we could arrange a day when I could come down and be filmed.
So it's not happened yet?
It's not happened yet, no.
Yeah, get on the press release.
I'm on the press release?
Yeah.
Well, he said that he would. Well, he's doing...
Well, maybe they're planning it.
Well, he's doing a lot of programmes. He's doing 12,
Yeah.
you know, he's got the cash to do 12, so I guess I'll be involved with one of them.
So you're going to be the Fanny Craddock of the aquatic world. Can I be Johnny?
Here's one of course early.
But it's not just me, I mean, there's other guys as well, you know, there's various other people throughout the pop world involved in this, you know.
Well, they're going to ask you to see your trout farm and all that sort of stuff, aren't they? Yes, here's a Findus frozen cod steak. That you see the thing in a frame on the wall, you know, bird's eye.
Well, who's asked that question and how did they get the...
Chris Toomey, the man who nearly wrote a book on us.
Oh yes, yeah, I know you saw the press release.
That's right.
I recently got offered, in fact last week, got offered doing the Janice Long show, you know, the whole show, where the spot would then be the Andy Partridge show. But I turned it down, because, you know, you then turn into one of them, don't you?
Yeah.
You then turn into the enemy.
Chris goes on to ask actually, do you reflect on the past and wonder why the hits dried up in this country?
Well, no, we never had hits. We had They never started flowing or anything. We had minor hits, I think, to be encyclopedically honest. We had minor hits in England. To be truthful, I'd rather they did dry up. I'd rather there was no kind of half-hearted pretense in people being force-fed any XTC. XTC, I think, is fine if you come and find it for yourself and if you like it. But I'd hate for it to be kind of rammed down people's throats and then going, oh no, 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 I don't want it, I don't want it. You know, I don't want anything like that. So I'm glad that there's no. Yeah, in fact, for this album, Oranges and Lemons, I actually asked Virgin, although they said no. I said, look, will you not bother releasing a single in England? Because we don't sell singles in England. You know, you save yourself some money, and we save the pretense of ramming it down people's throats. You know, if they go and buy all the albums, they're going to get all the songs in any case.
It's usually the record companies that insist on putting out the singles in any case.
They think they can shake a few more bob out, you know, get you by the ankles.
It's probably what's put them off the scent as regards marketing XTC. It's the fact that we've had a few demi hits, you know.
Actually, it brings a point that I'd like to put to you, maybe not be the opportunity, but Chris was saying that because he's involved actively with the Stranglers fan club, there was a time when they weren't having any hits, and the fan club just got onto the record company and said, let us choose the tracks from the album and decide what are going to be the hit singles. And the first one that they chose was Golden Brown, and it was a top 10 hit for them. And it's something, I wonder if Virgin would let XTC fans.
It's a jolly good idea, and I think if you ask the average XTC fans, you know, what would make good singles, I think they'd give you an honest answer.
A better answer than Virgin.
A better answer than us, and a better answer than definitely Virgin, because Virgin are definitely too close to it. You know?
Well, it's something that I'm going to follow up on the day, really, because when we've got 100 people there, devoted fans.
So the next one, you're in, kid.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect, I mean, King for a Day, it didn't seem the right track to put out as a single, although when I heard the 12-inch mix, it was very accessible, but dance-wise.
I think you have to bear in mind that we're selling records in America, not England, so I guess an English punter would have a different view to an American punter. You know, so that's another angle.
They were going to release Chalk Hills and Children in France. In fact, I even had the cover design for it, and they withdrew for some reason. Obviously, the French couldn't do much with it. You know, there's not much you can do other than just lay down to it. You know.
I think there are lots of. If you ask the guys, myself included, if you ask us what were the great lost XTC singles, we could give you a book for you. Loads, really.
Right, Ken Beattie from Essex, Reading Sounds, Andy, that you wanted a brass band to cover your songs.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do. No, I really would love to do an album of actually more a marching band, really, kind of, you know, band of the Royal Scots Praise or whatever, doing some of our songs. I think because some of our songs I hate brass band music, but I just think some of them would really click well with a brass band for some reason. I just see them doing Into the Atom Age as a march. I think it'd be tremendous. That's a real kind of martial sort of. You know, it's just, I can. I wouldn't mind a brass band doing.
So it wasn't a wind-up?
No, it's something I'd like to do.
Yeah. Ken goes on to say that he was insisting.
He plays a cornet, and here's.
He said that he believes that the record label Strange Fruit approached Virgin for permission to release the Peel sessions.
Yeah, they did, and Virgin
refused.
The Virgin refused. Yeah.
He knew that.
Oh yes.
There was nothing you could do.
In fact, the session they wanted to release, I think they should have released. It was a session that we did around the time of English settlement. I think you've got a cassette of it, haven't you? Yeah. It's a good session. It was, I think, about the best session we did for the BBC, and Virgin refused.
So there's nothing you can do to persuade them. They just hold the
We've tried. They just said.
Jerry System from Little Halton wants to know if any of you been choir boys.
Oh, I was for about one afternoon.
Yeah, me too.
The thing was, they stuck me next to the stinkiest kid in the class, and I remember myself and Clive Lewington, who's now teaching games back at Pennell School, the big lumps.
Turn full circle.
He's now got the sacred tracksuit with the saggy crotch that's always been there and always will. But I remember me and him being stuck next to the stinkiest kid in the class, and there was a a box of drinking straws under the bench in the schools, you know, school benches. And we connected these drinking straws one to the other and made an enormous breathing pipe, which we got out the door. We spent the whole lesson breathing fresh air next to this kid who just smelt like a giant thing of cabbage water. And that's all I remember of being in the school choir.
Can I just at this point, even though you see all these pages here, a lot of them are blank, so don't worry, I'm not going through all that. Far away.
So have you got it turned up enough? Should we be yelling more? Or?
Yeah,
So where is the mic?
Are you level?
There is, Mike.
There is a mic there. He
I've
said
got
it's
to
very
put it-
sensitive, and we tried it last night.
How
I
far
found it
away?
further away. So, you know, I don't think there's much worry about that. Andy, Jerry Sisson did ask something else. When you wrote Dear God, had you seen something on TV that got you particular, got up your nose really, and really made you go?
No, it's just a subject that, I mean, religion is one of my favourite subjects to talk about, you know, human belief,
Yeah.
and the need to believe in various things. I could go on, don't start me, so I've gone for hours and hours about it, but I wanted to write a song on the subject, because it's just a favourite subject of mine, and it's so big, you know, I really think I failed personally, but people think it's an okay little tune, but I do think I failed because there's so many things I wanted to express in the song, but you know, you got to get to 4 minutes and you just got to stop.
So the lads, did they think it failed? Or?
I think it's probably the best songs Andy's ever wrote.
Yeah,
it is.
a lot of people.
Yeah, but no, it's just the kind of the size of the subject. Do you know what I mean? It's such a massive subject that.
Well, it is, but you know, it's not. I thought it was just a very, you know, astute little comment on.
It's one of the few songs Andy usually writes, like in, he writes, that song is different to how he usually writes, you know. He doesn't usually write in that sort of style, not sort of...
Not in minors. There's not anything with A minor.
I mean the lyrics, like, you know.
Yeah.
He usually writes in sort of, what do you call it, similes or metaphors or whatever. But with Dear God, it's usually, it's like, well, straight from the heart, that's what he means, you know, this is it.
I do think it comes out a bit confused though. But then that's the subject.
It's a straight talking song, you know,
Yeah.
and I think it's probably his best song because of it.
Bloody hell.
I mean, the American reaction, was it compared to maybe not? I mean, John Lennon saying bigger than...
Well, no, I mean, there was much more pokey for the Beatles because they were like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
They were bigger than sliced bread. So you know, when sliced bread says something, you know, you listen. But when we do a song, come on.
Belinda Blanchard, she's given me a list here. I'll just pick out a
things she likes to do in bed.
Well, it says here, question 1, will they forgive me for being such a twat on the shoot of the Dear God video in 1987, should they ever remember me? She was the bride on
I remember.
Oh yes.
And I can never forgive her for being such a twat.
I was so nervous, the assistant director made me laugh, and although I was aware that I was in the presence of musical geniuses, it was all too much and I didn't handle it very well.
Oh, she was fine. She was much better than we were. Come on.
You got a better looking on the video than me and Dave did.
Yes, most people think she's in the band.
In fact, really, anybody who was involved in that shoot and had to sit up in that tree deserves an award, in my opinion, because it was the most difficult and not to say frightening thing to sit unsupported on a branch, 15 feet off the ground. It doesn't look from the ground, it doesn't look at all, you know, anything at all, but when you're up there, with no support underneath, no mattress or anything underneath, you just sat there. It's quite unnerving.
Mattresses are pretty large in your... That was the temptation to lay an egg, I found overwhelming.
She does go on to say that the production team were total tosspots and ripped everyone off, especially as artists. However, as a result of that shoot, I went out and bought the remaining XTC albums I never had and wrote to Mark Fisher and met him and made a good friend in him. Can I at least be in one more
Were they not paid
video with you?
Did they not get paid then? What was the idea?
I think they were poorly paid, she's told me. So
it was not a pleasant shoot. There's one poor old lady who was up the tree for like 4 hours, and she must have been in her 70s. And she was the first one to go up, and the last one to come down, didn't complain once.
But she did block the lavatory.
No, that wasn't her.
Wasn't it?
That
Somebody
wasn't me.
did. Jesus. Somebody left a basketball player's arm down that lavatory and nobody could use it for the rest of the day. So, grr.
right, I've just got some individual questions that I want to run through. Do you want a little bit of a break?
No, I'm fine.
Get,
Got a full head of steam going there.
if it's on 5 now. Dave, do you own a guitar that has a famous background?
Let me see. I don't think well, actually, I don't have any former players' guitars as far as I know. There are some that I would love to know the history of because they're fascinating things. But the amazing thing was that somebody recently gave me a very valuable guitar. Gave me a Gretsch guitar. It's a big XTC fan called David Dash, who lives in Brooklyn. And he phoned me up, or he wrote to me in fact, and said, Dave, I have something I really want to give you. I can't tell you what it is, but I just want you...
It's in this little box.
I've got something to give you. So when we went to America, I called him up and I said, I haven't heard from you for a long time, Dave. How are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And it transpired he wanted to give me this Gretsch guitar that he bought in 1966, brand new. And it kept virtually under his bed for the last 15 years. So I never play this guitar. I can't sell it because it's been part of me for my entire adolescence and right up to now. And I can't bring myself to sell it. But I'd like you to have it, and I'd like to be used for the band to sort of see it and play it and the rest of it. And I said, well, I'll make you an offer for it. I need a Gretsch guitar. I don't have one. So anyway, he steadfastly refused to take any money for it. So I had it shipped over to England. When it arrived, I was just stunned. It was just immaculate. It was like brand new, hardly played, and it's just a wonderful thing. So that is now a pride of place in my collection, and obviously I shall never be able to sell it. I shall keep it under my bed for that.
In fact, he's going to have 4 legs put on it and sort of tuck himself into it.
So a copy of it.
Yeah. So if there's anyone out there with, toy soldier collections, gathering dust under their bed, or fishing equipment, feel free to dump it all on us.
The old guitar's rest home is in Swindon right here, so
How many guitars do you own?
I've got I'm around about 20, I think, at the moment.
Have you got none shaped like a gonk?
No.
Here comes Stumpy. No, there's a bit of...
Is there any one guitar that you dearly love?
No, I think I've got all the guitars that I need, but I'm always walking...
How many arms have you got, for Christ's sake?
I'll walk into a store or somewhere and see something and I'll just fall in love, and I'll have to have it. Or
you get all starry-eyed, don't you? You should see him when he's guitar starry-eyed.
Sometimes, yeah, it does. But I mean, if the price is too much, I lose interest. It's like, looking at a whore,
Yeah. You
can fall in love with a pretty face, but if she's on the game, then forget it. But I really don't have too much room in my house for any more guitars.
They do live better than you do, I must say.
They are looked after, I tell you.
They really are.
Will we ever see a Gregory composition on vinyl?
On vinyl, possibly. Maybe not with XTC, because there are too many songs as it is. But
too many songwriters in the kitchen.
Too many songwriters in the kitchen.
I'm still bullying him to finish one. He starts lots of them, but you're reticent about finishing them.
Well, the thing is, I do go up blind alleys with these things and lose my way. In fact, I may it might be ideal music to use as parts of soundtracks and sort of TV shows and things like that. So maybe, I've got some feelers out in that direction. If people are wanting incidental music, I may have some stuff.
Or accidental music. Should you need something in your car as you're driving into a brick wall, he's got it,
What was the last guitar you bought then?
The last one I bought, it was a Fender Jaguar, which was a wonderful looking thing. It's a mid-60s blonde finished Fender Jaguar, a solid guitar, like a surf guitar.
It really does sound surfy.
It's like a real old radiophonic guitar.
It really gets around, that guitar.
Well, I was going to ask actually, could you imitate the sound so we can recognise it on the next album?
You can hear it on a lot of early Beach Boys records.
It's a real bronzy sounding guitar,
It sort of goes plink, plink, plink. It has a mute on it that deadens the strings, and then when you pluck the strings and send it into a cheap reverb, it has an unmistakable That's the one.
That sound.
So the next album will probably feature some very quaint guitar sounds indeed.
Quaint. Yeah, so we're going to be doing some Swindon surfing.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Colin, some questions for you. What's the biggest fish you've caught?
He's got it with him now. Had it made into a pair of trousers. Why should you
The
ask?
biggest fish I caught is probably a £10 carp. It's probably the biggest fish I caught because carp come big anyway.
Mm.
You know. But as regards, I mean, a £10 carp is not really a big fish as regards carp, you know. But it's still the biggest fish I've caught in terms of weight. You know.
Are you a specimen?
Not really. I don't spend as much time as I'd like to because my first love is music.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't enter competitions or anything like that?
No, it's all a bit too barbaric for me.
Or deep sea fishing?
Barbaric. Give them a chance, so you hand them a trident.
No, but definitely not sea fishing. Freshwater is definitely my forte.
Likes to add his own salt, then.
You must have spent hours on the riverbank. Have you not come up with a song about fish yet?
Did not really use it, really.
It was making plans for Turbot, that one we didn't do. It was living with a family in a house full of rudd, we didn't do that one.
You take a notepad along, a keyboard, guitar, and jot ideas down and
Not
just
really,
cut yourself
no.
off?
I'm really long gone John, I think, is the expression when I'm fishing. But, you know, I don't spend that much time fishing, you know. Everybody thinks I spend most of my time fishing. I don't, you know. It's just...
Spend most of the
one of
time
my
picking the
many
hooks at
interests.
Spend most of the time picking the hooks at your thumb, don't you?
So you don't eat your catch though, do you? If you
I have done, yeah, I have done, but not usually. Freshwater fish don't really taste all that whack out, you know.
The old Doc Martin goes past and get that in, get that in.
Yes.
But that make the stop from that.
You couldn't do an impression of your favourite fish, can you say?
Do I have what?
You couldn't do an impression of your favourite fish.
An impression of my favourite fish? Well, a little difficult.
Yeah.
Do me a dace, go on.
The days are pretty mundane.
Cynical dace.
Will the Colonel be recording any more songs?
Yes. Oh,
I
Colonel
guess
Blake.
he will, yeah. Sooner or later. But it's been later, really, isn't it? But yeah, in time, I guess. Well, I don't know whether I'll do any solo. Who knows?
Yeah.
Depends if it has to be the song first before you say I'll do a solo thing. You know, it has to be that the band don't really want to do a song that I want to do. Then I guess in that case, then I consider doing something solo. You know.
But these days, we more or less do anything. You know, that's the danger.
Yeah, I mean,
You have to look out because we could be doing any sort of fish.
I think in those days it was a case of if one of the guys, if Andy or myself, come up with a song that we didn't think, we had more of the sort of blinkers on as regards an XTC song then. You know, we thought, well, that's not really an XTC song that this is, but I think our comprehension of what XTC material is has widened somewhat since the days of the Colonel. So I think it's usually anything goes, providing it's a
Yeah,
good
'cause,
song.
I mean, Thanks for Christmas come up in the same sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, and if you don't do it like on an XTC record, you can usually do it on the next Dukes or whatever, or whatever project we're going to get together next, you know. So there are more outlets for the songs now than there ever was.
Oh, it's got more outlets than sense.
I believe, have you done a track for a Ray Davis compilation, Kinks? Is that true?
We were
Under
going to
another
do
name.
it, but I think we were recording Oranges and Lemons at the time, so I don't think we were able to do it. But had we been given the opportunity, then we most certainly would have.
I fancied doing Mr. Pleasant, I really did. It's one of my favourite Kinks tunes. I have great memories of groping Pat Beezer in the kitchen of the Methodist Hall with Mr. Pleasant on the dance set.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Andy, will you be following in the footsteps of Ben Elton and presenting Wogan in the near future?
Arf, arf.
Because you've done a bit of chat show hosting.
No, I should be presenting Ben Elton when he gets his throw.
I wonder who would get the word in edgeways if Andy interviewed Ben Elton.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point? Me as
You
interviewer.
don't fancy doing that, though?
No, because I wouldn't let them talk. You know.
On Play at Home, you let the viewers see a couple of your board games. Have any been taken up by a company?
No, that's a long and kinky history of these board games. Because at one time I thought, yeah, I can have an alternate career making and selling board games. But the couple that I tried to sell, I had a lot of very bad luck with. A chap tried to steal one idea, and I had to, in the end, I chased him for the thing back, you know, and I had to get all unnecessarily heavy and threatening to get the idea back. But it worked, I got the idea back. And the other, that sort of gave me burnt fingers for a while. That was a game called Babel, which sort of involved building the Tower of Babel. Another game I thought was the best one was called Damn and Blast, and I couldn't get anyone interested in this. And there was a game company called HP Gibson, which saw it and liked it, and said could they keep it and play test it for a while, so on and so on. They kept it for about 6 months, play tested it, and they wrote back saying they liked it a lot, but they wanted to change the rules and make it a lot more simple for young kids. And I thought the charm of it was that there was a modicum of strategy in it, which made it fun. You know, you didn't have to be stupid. In fact, the more thoughtful you were, the better game it would be. Because it was a strategy game. And they wanted to change it too much, and I said, sorry, I don't want to change it. Can I have it back? And they sent it back, and they damaged it quite heavily. I don't know what they'd done to it. So, you know, that was too, I got my fingers burnt twice. So I haven't bothered, you know, with anything else. So I just do it for my own cheeky benefit.
You collect soldiers, obviously. Do you...
Oh, no. Who left all these up here?
Do you war game? Do you go to in a club and war game?
Oh, no, that's just too weird.
Yeah.
No, I occasionally bully people into coming and opposing me. He's one of them.
Well, he likes to be the referee now.
Yeah, I do. I like to. I like to play the Charlton Heston God role. You know, I like to be referee. But
so yes, I think.
actually, we're sorry to interrupt, but we're sitting here where until a couple of years back there would have been a very large war games table, but I had to have it smashed up to get me amplifiers up here and recording equipment to write the stuff that went to Oranges and Lemons. So it was a choice of either not write an album or and keep wargaming, or smash the table up and write an album. So I had to write an album because wargaming doesn't pay the rent.
Do you have a favourite regiment from a particular period?
Oh, a kinky question. No, I do have a favourite period though, which is really the late 1600s, early 1700s, Marlburian warfare, I suppose you would call it. Draftsman's Contract sort of era, if you know the film. It's pretty big on that.
Did you enjoy those appearances on Swap Shop when you're surrounded by those kids, you know, including Keith Chegwin?
Those little baalams. Keith Robin Hood Chegwin. Did I enjoy them? Well, you know, they're alright. You got to get into the spirit of it. You know, the laugh, ain't you?
I think the important thing was that they played the video and helped single or whatever along its way, you know.
They weren't really painful, let's put it this way. You know, you can't go on like some bands and try and be like cool and serious and, you know, the Lloyd Cole school of macho kind of, because the kids just...
That doesn't come through the kids.
Yeah, they
being cool doesn't come through the kids.
They sort of fun.
Yeah. If I can go back actually to the day when you walked off the stage in Paris, had you wanted to cancel the gig beforehand?
No, I just felt very, very weird before the gig. I think that was the pinnacle of a long stream of mental and physical ill-being, you know, and that whole tour was really fraught with illness. You know, gigs in Italy were, I did gigs with like, incredible stomach aches because I thought I had, you know, all sorts of diseases going on. And it was just like real nervous symptoms plus being like run down physically. It was just a physical and mental low point. The mental low point being that we seemed to be forever touring and not making any money. We were making money, but we weren't seeing any of it. We didn't know this at the time. So it was just, you know, just very big low point for me, spiritually, the whole thing. And it was coming out, it was metamorphosizing itself in physical symptoms.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to ask the question, but the reason is that it's from the horse's mouth for once instead of reading it, so everyone can now see and hear.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it was. I think we would have liked to have just carried on. Well, I'm sure Dave and Colin didn't mind playing live, but I would like to have played live if we'd have done it better and properly in the first 5 years instead of just, you know, I went back and looked through some old diaries, you know, and the days off. It's like 5 days off a year. It's just stupid.
Just hard work.
Oh, it's just dead.
24 hours a day, yeah.
And especially when you're not seeing any apparent reward for it. No, not even like well done, or you know, your record's sold here, or just seemed to be kind of going off into the void, all this music. And
I think we played a lot of places that were unnecessary as well.
yeah,
A lot of
goodness
clubs in
sake.
Australia and a lot of places in America and stuff where, you know, they were...
Why do we play like working men's clubs in the outback?
Yeah.
You know, and they stick you on stage between 2 shifts at a steel mill, and the blokes coming off the shift at the steel mill just want to get drunk as quickly as possible and have their burger, and the blokes going on want to get as much drink down their necks before they go on the shift. And there you are on the stage selling second-hand furniture in a working men's club next to a steel mill. Come on, that's really creative placement, you know. Billed as new wave cabaret from England.
We played those places because they obviously were, you know, they were money spinners and, and for our manager at the time and the agency, and you know, so it goes down the line, you know. But they weren't very good places to play, and they were certainly not enjoyable gigs.
So what's you working on at the moment, bringing us right up to
working on building a shed that I can go and write some more songs in it, because a couple of weeks ago this ceiling, or this portion of this ceiling collapsed, because I had too much...
where we're sitting.
Right where we're... I had too much heavy stuff up here, like amps and, you know, recording equipment and whatever. And I was sat on the lavatory, there was this huge explosion.
on the lavatory?
Yeah, what a vindaloo that must have been. And I looked up thinking, oh no, I know that sickening sound. And I saw all this cloud of black dust roll out of the bedroom, and the ceiling had fallen in where all this stuff had come through. So I have to have a little shed built at the bottom of the garden. I'm waiting for that to be finished so I can get in there and get writing. I want to get working on a new record that doesn't sound anything like Original.
The band's at a point where we've done most of the publicity for Oranges and Lemons, so it's a case of start thinking about the next one. So obviously we've got nothing prepared for the next one yet.
I see.
Want to make it different, that's the only feeling I have.
Would you consider making a video album to go with it?
No, I don't like pop videos. I think, just to round it all off quickly, my feeling is that music is for your ears, and it gives everyone great, different mental pictures. You know, everyone can hear one piece of music and they all get different wonderful pictures from it. Once you've seen a video connected with that piece of music, that's it, it's spoiled. The end of all your different pictures. So I don't like pop videos at all.
How about?
Well, I think it's made bands not so as intriguing as they were 15 years ago. You know.
And it's why there's a lot of pretty people making music, which is not necessarily the best music. But they're there because they're pretty.
Yeah, it's taking the emphasis away from the music.
How about a live video? Maybe just of you to satisfy the fans. Maybe a 40-minute thing of.
But what would they want to see? You know, old stuff or new stuff?
I think a different interpretation. Maybe acoustic. Just set. Food for thought.
Possibly. Well, we did this.
Actually, there was a proposal last year for us to.
I bet that'll get wheeled out this year too.
Well, maybe yes. Yeah. Our new manager, Trafford, wanted us to go into a studio and perform a live set in the studio before a small invited audience, film the whole shenanigans, mix the record it in a recording studio, as I say, and then mix the tape later and release the whole thing as a video with a mixed master tape for distribution. Around America mainly, I believe it was, to appease the record company because we weren't planning to tour, and you know, they wanted to know how to sell the album. Well, for a variety of reasons, this never happened.
Mostly the financing, what it cost to actually set the thing up and film it was a small fortune.
But you're not against doing it?
I quite like the idea. I'd like to do it in a setting. If it's going to be a visual thing, then it should visually be interesting. I'd like to do it in a setting like a thing. I like to do a thing with a Victorian sideshow with a lot of kind of freak people, like bearded ladies and giants and stuff. And in between the songs, actually interview these people about normal everyday things, like where do they do their shopping, and you know, what was it like when they got married and stuff like this. And I think that might be a nice visual, you know, punctuation between the songs, which would be performed in different areas of this, like a kind of freak show thing. That was one idea. Another idea was to do it on the end of a pier and involve a lot of English seaside alia, which I really like. You know, the sort of nudie leg rock and naughty postcards and what the Butler soul machines and stuff. You know, the stuff that the essence of the English seaside, and punctuate it with that. But again,
this was being proposed last February. That was knocked on the head as being too.
Was that with an audience?
well, yeah, well, there'd be to some extent an audience, but it's more kind of thing of people in the pier. It was going to be called something like the end of the pier or something like that. It would be really a sort of visually a homage to the seaside that's disappearing.
The thing is with that is that unless you get the excitement of what playing a gig is all about,
that's
with
tricky.
an audience, then I don't think it's going to come across. It's just going to be
flat.
bad versions of the record.
Yeah.
Where's the fear element?
Yeah, it's got to be that whole sticky
Fight or flight?
Of being on a stage with an audience and getting that sort of feedback from the audience. I think that's what gigs are all about.
Having them tossing mud-filled bras at you and stuff like that.
Anything.
Which somebody did in Switzerland.
I think if you don't get that, essence across, then I don't think it'd be worth it.
Well, let's hope anyway something blossoms.
Well, I'd like to do either of those things because I think they're subjects worth making documentaries about. I think the English seaside is really fascinating, or the English seaside that's rapidly disappearing is very fascinating. You know, all day on the sands with XTC.
Yep, I'll be there. Hopefully. I'd like to thank you anyway. It's been amazing. I must
Anybody
admit.
still awake?
Hello. Get conventioning.
What I'd like to do is just give you these little items, if I may.
Oh, Embarrassment City.
Oh,
What's this?
Let me see. This one, Dave's gift. Use this after you've just missed out buying that fantastic guitar.
My goodness, thank you.
Andy's gift. Use
Small
this when
pair of-
another XTC record fails to make the chart.
It's a small pair of slippers.
Colin's gift. Use this after the one that got away. Right, you can open up, lads.
This feels spongy.
Are you going to sort of... It's like Leslie Crowther going around the wards, is it? Shall I try and look like I've just had my leg chopped off? Oh, thanks! I've got
Yeah, it's very appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, very good. Very, very good indeed. I can feel this.
How did you know we smoked?
Frustration brick.
Get off.
Brilliant.
Is there a message that I can ask that you can give to the
Well, now we
fans?
can build the wall that we're supposed to be banging our heads against.
Yeah,
Well, I
right.
knew Andy was into bricks when he said that on playing at home.
Oh, just this... my...
Throw it at the TV or...
Very interesting.
I think if soaked in a glass of meths overnight would make a very good home brew kit. Look at this, it's a sex device, it's pick your preference.
Not much to choose from.
Is there a
Martian
message
glasses.
that you'd like to give to the fans?
Just one enormous, stupid, sticky, heartfelt thank you, really. We like making music, but it'd be pretty stupid if we just made it for ourselves and nobody listened to it. So you're the chosen few that have to listen to it, it looks like. Thanks ever such a lot.
Yeah, thanks
That's
a lot.
all.
Fellas and gals.
Blush, blush. Am I blushing? Is it a colour camera? Does it matter?
Well, thanks, lads, anyway.
Thank you, and look out for anyone with a long beard at the convention and tug the beard just in case. You know.
Have a good night, that's what I can say.
Have 8 for me.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Cool.
Liebe Freunde, heute Abend bei uns zu Gast im Rockpalast XTC. When the label slammers front door, don't realize this is just like to proceed. What y'all thinking about that club for? Cause you realize this is just like to proceed. And they talk about emotion, cause my mama took emotions to their daughter. As they speak of contraception and immaculate receptions on that whole time. So we get the taste. the other on the edge. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's in the way the curtains. It's in the look that give you down and out. A part of Jesus' jigsaw years away. Sunday church and they look perfect. Saturday night so interacting on our fans. Back on all the beats a turn, turn, turn. I can see them with the sound out as there's fans. One of the sides with an evil slam is good. Don't you realize this is respectable street? Why'd you think he bought that cover? Cause he realized this is respectable street. 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 Towers of London, when they had built you, did you watch over the man Towers of London, when they had built you, Victoria's jam found in somebody's hand. Pavements of gold leading to the underground. Walking my pretty ladies. Fuck is the sweat on the never, 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 never is who. Ow, 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 ow. Fight the rails to their very own hell. Towers of London, when they had built you, did you watch over the man? Towers of London, when they had built you, Victoria's jam found in somebody's hand. Just a muscle smiling so long and hard. In the dig house, no walking on busy ladies. Rains and tears of the never, never, never endless who cry. That does not go in the direction. Towers of London, when they have built you, did you watch over the man? Towers of London, when they have built you, Victoria's jam found in somebody's hand. I've seen it in a painting. I've seen it in a gray, yeah. I've seen it in your faces, clear as children's joy on the pavement. I've seen it in a painting. Thanks a lot! This is a song off the new album. It's called Runaways. She's worried, he's worried. she's worth. Oh!
Unsere Gäste heute im Rockpalast sind XTC. XTC stammen aus Swindon, einer kleinen Stadt zwischen Bristol und Oxford, also in West-England. 3 der 4 Mitglieder der Gruppe spielen miteinander seit 1950. Deren verschiedene Stile auf allen Tasteninstrumente und Gesang, Colin Moulding, Bass und Gesang und Andy Partridge, Gitarre und Gesang. Wir haben XTC hier in der Markthalle in Hamburg.
Just the same, but they're using makeup. I've seen acts of every shade of terrible come from man-like creatures, and I had the breath of darkness throwing me off those